Since the year 2020, you might have noticed that the world feels different. It's not just about the big events you see on the news, something deeper is shifting in the way countries relate to each other. For a long time, a few powerful Western nations led by the United States made most of the big decisions. This was often called a unipolar world where one major power stood at the center. But that era is now fading. We are moving into what many people call a multipolar world. Power and influence are now shared among many countries and regions, not just one or two. It's like going from a single school principal to a student council with many representatives. This change didn't happen overnight, but the years since 2020 have accelerated it dramatically. The global economy, the flow of goods, and even the technology in your pocket are now shaped by new players. Countries in Asia, Africa, Latin America are no longer just following the rules, they are helping to write them. They are building new roads, creating new technologies, and forming new groups to make their voices heard. However, since 2020 we have seen this long-standing dominance begin to fracture and fade. It is not that these countries are no longer powerful, they are, but their relative influence is shrinking as other nations rise to meet them at the global table. Political divisions, economic slowdowns, debates over their global role have made it harder for them to present a united front. This fragmentation means the once solid bloc of Western power is now less cohesive. Their ability to unilaterally shape global events has diminished. The world is now a more crowded stage, and the old stars have to share the spotlight. This relative decline is also a story of success for the rest of the world. The very system of global trade and connectivity that the West promoted has enabled other countries to grow and prosper. We are living in a globalized era where influence flows east to west and south to north, creating a dynamic and often unpredictable new landscape. The old system of global governance, established after World War II, is struggling to keep up with these new dynamics. The world is not just changing, it has already changed. It is a present-day reality, reshaping the map of global power, creating a more complex, interconnected, and competitive planet for everyone. For centuries, these were major centers of the global economy. Now they are reclaiming that position. Since 2020, their influence has become impossible to ignore. China has established itself as the world's factory, a manufacturing powerhouse, electronics, heavy machinery. Its economic might is so great that its trade and investment decisions ripple around the globe. Leader in exports, a major source of development finance, pioneer in 5G, leader in artificial intelligence. They are investing heavily in military and technological capabilities, proving that they are forces to be reckoned with. At the same time, India has emerged as another formidable force, charting its own unique path to global prominence. China's model, massive state-led manufacturing, India's growth through its digital economy, a booming services sector, its status as the world's largest democracy. India has become a global hub for software development, IT services, digital innovation. With a young and increasingly skilled population, it is also a massive and growing market for goods and services. Its agricultural sector is one of the largest in the world. Both countries have also been expanding their military capabilities, modernizing armies, modernizing navies, modernizing air forces, securing their trade routes, protecting their interests abroad, projecting power in their regions and beyond. China's navy is now the largest in the world. India is investing heavily in building a blue water navy to safeguard the Indian Ocean. This military growth is a clear signal that Asia is no longer just a passive recipient of global security arrangements. The continent is becoming a central theater of global geopolitics. It means that to lead effectively today, Western nations must learn to build broader coalitions, listen to different perspectives, and adapt to a world where power is more widely distributed than ever before. The era of unquestioned Western authority is over, replaced by an era of negotiation and competition. For the first time in modern history, the future is being shaped as much in Asia as it is in the West, creating a more balanced and more complex global order. The world is no longer content to have just one or two voices leading the discussion. As the world changes, new groups of countries are coming together to increase their collective influence. One of the most important of these new coalitions is BRICS. BRICS leaders on stage with flags: Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. They represent a huge portion of the world's population, land area, and economic output. BRICS is not a formal military alliance like NATO. It's a political and economic partnership. Its main goal, a more balanced, fair global order. They're building a new table, not asking for a seat at the old one. Traditional institutions like the World Bank IMF seen as dominated by Western interests. To create an alternative, they established the New Development Bank. The bank funds infrastructure and sustainable development projects. It gives equal voting rights to all founding members, symbolizing a more democratic approach to global finance. Since 2020, BRICS influence has grown. The group expanded Saudi Arabia, Iran, UAE, Egypt, Ethiopia. Expansion brings major energy producers together, and strategically important Middle East and African countries. A larger BRICS holds a significant share of global oil production and trade shows. Many countries want an alternative, a multipolar world. There's actually a broader movement gaining momentum. The rise of the Global South. This isn't really a formal alliance, but more of a loose grouping of developing countries. Asia, Africa, Latin America. For a long time, these nations were on the periphery of global power, often seen as places with problems to be solved by the richer global north. Now, they're demanding to be seen as equal partners, with their own solutions and priorities. The Global South is finding its collective voice, calling for a more just and equitable international system. For example, developing countries contribute the least to climate change, but often suffer its worst effects. They're calling for more support, more funding, more say. They're not just asking for aid, they're demanding fairness and a seat at the decision-making table. While BRICS captures many headlines, other important coalitions are quietly reshaping power dynamics, especially in Asia. One of the most successful is ASEAN, the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. Its members include countries like Indonesia, Vietnam, Thailand, and Singapore. For decades, ASEAN has focused on promoting economic cooperation and maintaining peace and stability in one of the world's most dynamic regions. In a world increasingly defined by the rivalry between the United States and China, ASEAN plays a crucial role as a neutral and stabilizing force. Its members work hard to avoid taking sides, instead, seeking to build positive relationships with all major powers. ASEAN's power comes from its unity and its central position in global trade. The region sits astride some of the world's busiest shipping lanes, making it vital for supply chains that connect Asia with Europe and the Americas. Another influential group is the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, or SCO, a Eurasian political, economic, and security alliance. Led by China and Russia, its members also include India, Pakistan, and several Central Asian nations. India's rise is one of the most compelling stories. It is not just another emerging economy, it is rapidly becoming a global leader in its own right. Digital innovation, economic dynamism, strategic diplomacy. India has bypassed some of the traditional stages of industrial development and has leaped directly into the digital age. With hundreds of millions of smartphone users and some of the cheapest data plans in the world, the country has built a massive digital ecosystem. This has transformed everything from how people pay for goods to how they access government services and education. The government's Digital India initiative has created a public technology infrastructure. These large-scale geopolitical shifts might seem distant and abstract, but they have real and direct impacts on the lives of ordinary people everywhere. One of the most noticeable effects is on the prices of the goods you buy. As countries form new trade blocs and global supply chains are redrawn, where your phone, your clothes, your food come from is changing. For example, a company might move its factory from China to Vietnam or India. This can affect the final price of the product, create new jobs in one country, and lead to job losses in another. The competition between different economic models can lead to more choices and sometimes lower prices for consumers. The technologies you use every day are also at the center of this new world order. The global competition between the US and China over technologies like 5G, artificial intelligence, semiconductors, is creating a tech divide. Depending on where you live, your country might align with one tech ecosystem or another. This could affect the apps available on your phone, the speed of your internet, and the privacy of your data. At the same time, the rise of digital powers like India is bringing new innovations, like mobile payment systems, that can make financial services more accessible and affordable for millions. You are now more likely to watch a movie from Nigeria, listen to music from South Korea, or follow an influencer from Brazil. The world's cultural landscape is no longer dominated by Hollywood and Western pop culture. This multipolar reality is creating a richer, more diverse, and more interconnected global culture, where everyone has a chance to share their story. We are living through a historic transition. The old unipolar world order has given way to a more complex, messy, multipolar reality. Power is now more distributed. The rise of Asian giants like China, India, the growing influence of coalitions like BRICS, ASEAN, the Global South. The West remains powerful but must navigate a world where it is one major pole among several. Navigating this landscape will require skilled diplomacy and willingness to find common ground. And in this multipolar age, our shared future depends on managing differences and working together. The book on Amazon reveals the New World Order. Read more at https://Amazon in DPBOFML SIG W95.